welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Nothing is affecting the global economy more than the U.S., Israel, Iran situation. And to get more insight on the latest developments, we have with us now from New York, live over the phone, Dr. Ahmed Maharem, and he's a journalist and a political and economic expert. Good afternoon, Dr. Maharem. Of course, it's evening here in Cairo, but it must be afternoon in New York. Thank you for joining us. Happy Eid. Sir, do you expect that we will indeed finally reach the long-sought deal for peace in the Middle East concerning the Iran situation, or do you think that we still are lagging?
Good afternoon or good evening, and happy Eid for you and everybody. I think everybody has a hope that the deal can be approved and conducted as soon as possible. I think both sides, American and Iranian, are trying to push to raise the scale of their objectives. Iranian, they still control the passing of all the ships in Hormuz Strait, and that's very critical to the economy and very painful to American decision. The other thing, the negotiation, it took almost a couple of weeks in Pakistan, Islamabad. The personal talk, President Trump, he talked with different leaders, Arab and Muslim countries in the region,
yes,
in order to get their opinion. Of course, we all push to the matter that military occupation, military attack will never end the story. They have to push and concentrate on details of kind of discussions, and that's great. But the other thing, President Trump, he was having something actually was not expected when he asked all those leaders that in order to carry on for the message and end the story, they have to go through the Abraham's deal as it happened before with United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and I think Sudan as well. That was rejected completely from all the parties, starting from Egypt and Saudi Arabia as well. I think
right, but this is not. Of course, President Sisi was in that phone call that Mr. Trump held with the leaders of the Arab world and the region, and was atop that list. But, dear sir, do you have information, indeed, that the call by Mr. Trump for the implementation of the Abrahamic Accords in tandem and simultaneously with the Iran potential deal was rejected by Saudi Arabia? I mean, it's the most important element in that deal. Was it? I mean, yes, we've read in across international media from anonymous sources, from officials, semi-officials, that Saudi Arabia is sticking with its position that it will not sign to such an accord unless there is a viable and independent Palestinian state, or at least a clear path, an irreversible path for a two-state solution. But have we heard anything official from the Saudi government on that?
Well, President Trump has always presented himself as the best person in the global to do the best deal. Okay, the best deal according to him, he would like to end the war and announce any kind of victory according to his measurement. Plus, he would like to to give the replacement to Benjamin Netanyahu. So to get all these objectives in one package, it is not an easy, because if you would like to end the war, it has a price, it has to be paid. He would like to compliment Benjamin Netanyahu because he has an influence by his the Jewish influence inside Washington. But again, Iranian has other power in their hand. So I don't think that the way it's considered by President Trump will not have a kind of accepting anywhere.
All right. I mean, maybe even if we didn't hear a clear, loud rejection from the Arab leaders concerning that proposal, concerning the Abrahamic Accords, and again, Saudi Arabia is the main key target here of Mr. Trump and of Israel. At least the fact that Mr. Trump's call was ignored, the fact that Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Pakistan and others ignored the demand or the call in itself, I guess, might mean that they politely are rejecting his call. Isn't that correct?
It is correct, but also Trump, he is considering that more pressure by different kind of putting the words in another attitude, that maybe if you listen to what the Saudi Arabia and the other Gulf states, even Egypt, can consider just a kind of an idea. Saudi Arabia insists that if Palestinian, country Palestinian will be allowed, and the capital of the Palestinian will be in Jerusalem itself, and if there is no more war, Gaza and etc. I think if Trump is pushing to reach this kind of conclusion, could be more pressure from his side, negotiation both sides, if he can convince Benjamin Netanyahu with what the area, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and other countries are asking for. If it was offered, maybe a negotiation can be opened directly.
But Mr. Trump, but Mr. Trump is not putting this as a condition for the Iran deal, right? He just wants to exploit the situation, but he's not putting it as a condition, or is he?
No, he is not putting it as a condition, but I think the other side, very strongly, when they reject the request, of course, the Saudi Arabia, for instance, they said, we don't mind, that can be discussed in the future, but we have to listen first that there is an agreement, there is an approval that there is Palestinian state can be approved, and that there is no more war between Israel and the Arab countries. If that happens, it could be a matter of accepting by Arab countries.
Yeah, because I mean, in the current situation, when Israel continues to occupy lands in the West Bank, in occupied East Jerusalem, Al-Quds, in Gaza, continues to violate and breach the Gaza ceasefire deal, continues to occupy lands in Lebanon and violate the Lebanon ceasefire deal, continues to attack and breach this territorial integrity and sovereignty of many Arab states. After a genocide, just a few months after its genocide war, I mean, it's hard to imagine that any leader or that the peoples of this region would accept anything like that, isn't it, Dr. Maharem?
I think the statement, it was really clear that the situation in the region before that 3 months attack Israel, American to Iranian, definitely when the matter will be over, the situation in the area or in the region will be absolutely different. I don't think the allies, the Gulf state countries, where they used to be a good ally for years, for centuries, they pay billions of dollars to defend their security, and America promised that. The story or the fact says, no, that's not going to be a good fact in the future, and I think the situation will be different. Maybe they can look for different allies, Russia or China. So the situation with America will not be exactly as it used to be easy with the Gulf state in the previous time.
Right. So finally, do you think we're going to get a deal or not concerning the U.S., Israel, Iran situation?
Well, the deal has to come sooner or later, but the conclusion or the discussion or the details of that deal, possibly I think Iranians have the power to put their thumb and to make America to think twice because military attack will not be the good solution.
Right.
Still, Iranians have the power in the Hormuz Strait. Possible, it will take some time, but definitely the conclusion will happen.
And of course, any deal must be satisfactory to the Arab Gulf countries, and Egypt is overseeing this. And I'm sure that the deal, or at least we assume that the deal would be satisfactory for all parties, with the exception of Israel, because nobody thinks Israel will be happy with any kind of deal, do they? I mean, Dr. Maharem, before we leave you, because this is a business program, so we wanted to ask you about the economic effects of the Iran war on American citizens, and how are Americans receiving, higher food prices or higher gasoline prices, and when are things expected to cool off, for the consumers in the States?
Well, generally speaking, 45% or 40 million of the Americans depending on the food stamp and the social security of their programs. That means not all the Americans are millionaire or millionaire. That's why when each house in America has more than 1, 2, 3, 4 cars sometimes, the consumption of gas on a weekly basis and monthly basis is increased double. Plus, not only the gas prices, but also the food and the other services are increased double. So there is a suffering. The American people start to say, why we are engaged or involved in this war? We have nothing to do with it. There is suffering inside the American society.
Okay. The war is still very unpopular, right? I mean, last we checked, like 70% plus were against the war. That remains to be the situation, correct?
Absolutely, because the main question was asked many times by the journalists and the press media people to President Trump, why America is going to this war, was no answer. How, when, and how this war will be ended also was no answer. That means that the objective at the starting of this war is Israel. We're pushing America on that.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed Maharem, the journalist, writer, and political and economic analyst, talking to us from New York. Thank you, Dr. Maharem, as always, for your time and your insight. And thank you for watching us. Please stay with Nile TV. In 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, the hourly news update will come your way.